Hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screezilla here, and the next tank we're going to look at today is the ARL 44 ACL1. Now, there has been a change since the dev server. So if you remember in the dev server it had this 50mm plate here and 50mm plate here. Now there is a gap. So much like the Churchill, it's a sort of stowage compartment in this section. So that 50mm is just 50mm. So there isn't any extra armour on this thing that we thought there would be. There's no spaced armour, which is a real shame because I thought that was what it was going to be like, and this would have been a true behemoth. The front armour is a bit iffy. It's not great, is it? For a heavy tank. Lower plate, pretty good, but it's 50mm, very sloped. Upper plate, not great. However, this tank, you don't play it how you would expect to play it. You play it frontally, of course. Let's jump into a replay here and show you how this thing goes. Oh lordy, let's show you. Now, of course, this tank is not, it's not great. It's not like a heavy tank that you would expect. It's not like a Tiger or a KV2 or a KV1. It's not got that real impenetrable front when you're driving, and that does affect it. And the gun, well, the gun's okay, but it's not great. You know, you've got a 90mm, I think it is, or 75mm. And you've got decent penetration. You've got 100mm of penetration at 500, 120. So you've got decent penetration, but the fragmentation effect is to be desired. High explosives, yeah, there's no real point in using them. It's not exactly fast. It's not the slowest heavy tank out there, but it's not fast. It's at 4.0, so you're going to be going up against some seriously powerful vehicles. You're going to start facing, you know, there's going to be T-34s, there's going to be KV-1s, there's going to be some very serious guns out there that can really cause damage. Sorry, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. As you see, there's a Firefly on the enemy team, the M10, you know, there's some very strong tanks, and a T14, the premium tank, that's very, very hard to penetrate. That thing is very well armoured. But the way you play this tank is you use ridge lines. Now, we're just going to pause here for a second, and we're just going to jump to the free camera. Now, we'll spin round here. The thing this tank has is a ridiculous amount of depression, and with that, if you work a ridge line, this plate here becomes very bouncy. Let's just hop back in and continue this video. So, spot an M10 up there. Boom. That's the end of that M10, early game. First strike, great job. That's my first kill with this tank. Must admit, I was pretty happy. I've actually not got many kills with this tank. I mainly get assists, because usually I don't get that coup de grace, I don't get that killing blow, I just get that sort of initial shot. Now, I really discovered this by accident, this depression. Now, I am very angled here, as you can see, and let's just switch the free camera again. From the enemy side, let's just have a look, see where we're at. Oh, I hate free camera controls because they really suck. But you can see up here, this tank is pretty much over this ridge line. If you're down at this position here, there's not much you can see of it. You can just see the turret and the upper plate. Let's just hop back to the main view. Now, I'm just scouting out with the binoculars here, keeping an eye out for it. Now, This is the first French heavy tank we're going to get a taste of when you're grinding. This is the first French heavy tank you're going to get a hold of. And if played right, this thing is going to be an absolute beast. But you've got to play it more as a tank destroyer, something that stays back. Don't take it forwards. You can't brawl very well in this tank. You will get absolutely annihilated. The side armour is very weak. As I've said, it doesn't have that spaced effect. So the side armour is very weak. There's a T14 there. Not noticed him yet. Now we're just going to pause here, and we're just going to jump to this guy's view. So as you can see here, it is night, so it's a bit hard to see. He does spot me though. Now let's just go to the free camera and just see where these shells are going to hit. So the shells, slightly angled, but there is a massive rock in the way. He can't hit my upper plate. He can only really hit my turret. So let's unpause this. Straight into the turret here, and no damage. You see how this tank is quite strong. Okay, he's given me his position. Hello T14. Fire off a shot at his side. Hit his track. No real damage there. He's angling. Really good job. Can't damage my turret, but I can damage his. I take out his commander and his gunner. His track's down, so he can't really move in this position, so he can't escape. Take out his loader. Damage the gun breach. His gunner's back up, obviously. Now I've got to try and get that shot off again in his gunner. And non-penetration. It's not easy to penetrate that tank, but we did get a good job. Now, he hits our track, but he's still not penetrated us, and that tank's got a good gun on it. It's firing his machine guns at us. Now, slow load time is hindering us here. Get hit again, and he gets blown up. The Stug takes him out from the side. But we survived it, and I did not expect that. And that is because of this turret is very hard. Hold down this thing is amazing. One of those shots you can see has gone into the front plate there, and at the angling we're at, it didn't penetrate. It can't go through. We've got too much armour thickness. Even at the side points here, there was no way he could really hit the sides. He just hits the track. This thing is really good hold down. You play it like a British tank, like a Centurion or a Chieftain. You keep hold down. Your turret is the bit you want pointing out. You don't want anything else pointing out. That top hull armour, if you angle it on a slope like this, absolutely you're fine. It really does amazing stuff. Now there's BF-109 coming in here, and it's the guy that was just killed. So I'm expecting him to come in for a revenge kill. So I'll try and train my guns on him, but he gets away. I don't have a coaxial. Well, I've got a coaxial, but I don't have a top mounted. I expect him to come around and cause some problems for me. Yeah, look, revenge kills are still a problem. It's not getting fixed, and with the scouting mechanic, it's become more of a problem. But I expect him to come over the cliff, so I just angle the tank just so I don't get hit at the back, so he can't damage my engine bay, because I don't have fire prevention equipment on this tank yet. So I've just got to be a bit wary of that. Keeping an eye out over here. I'm basically keeping A locked down, because if somebody comes over here, they're probably going to come over this hill, and that spot up there is a great sniping spot. So keeping that locked down. The M10 earlier, as you saw, it got absolutely annihilated by me when it was up in that sniping spot. Now, you might have just noticed on the video, something just appeared to the left. Now I'm busy scouting out over there. Pop out the binoculars. Oh, hey, there's a Cromwell. I must have missed it this time, but I do definitely see it. Eventually, there we go. So I move up, fire a shot, centre of mass, kill his his commander and his gunner. I think his commander and gunner. I think it was, and try and spot him with machine guns, watching where he's going. But he runs out the smoke. The turret's got a good traverse speed. Fire off a shot, hit the engine, and hit the non-existent loader. But before I can get him, the Stug finishes him off. So I was a little bit upset I didn't get that kill, because I would have liked to have got more than one kill with this thing. But 2 assists and 1 kill, I'm relatively happy with that. And that's really the end of the game from here. That Avenger, I didn't really see anything of him, so that didn't happen, and we win from here on in. Now let's just head back to the hangar and talk a little bit more about this tank. Now, this tank was actually in development at the start of World War II. It was actually developed by the Vichy French, and developed through World War II itself. It's an interesting vehicle, and I'm going to be interested to see how the tank destroyer variant goes, because it has the same amount of depression as this one, which, oh boy, that thing is going to be an absolute beast. Let's just take it out for a test drive really quickly as well, but I'll just show you here. A bit hard to see, but we were sort of at this angle here, and this top plate, you can see, comes about 106, 107 millimeters, 48 degrees slope, so it's very hard to hit. What's the T-14's gun? As you see, the T-14, we penetrated the cheeks here, but we hit the mantlet, I think, the next time. It's a hard tank to penetrate because it just has so much armour. We probably could have actually penetrated his front section here with how he was angled, but I was more interested in trying to take out the turret. But his gun has 110 millimeters, 143, so about 127. You know, it's like good penetration, and we did bounce most of the, well, all of those shots. The only shot that caused any damage to us was just to our track. So overall, yes, the ARL 44 is a good tank, but it does have some disadvantages, and that's the crew. The vertical aiming drive is pretty interesting, and you can see here how it works. It's actually geared up to the engine, so it's a powered system, and that's pretty unique. Pretty cool actually, and it's nice to see it in here. So you can see the vertical aiming system here. So I'm not entirely sure. Well, it's got a pivot in the section here, so the gearing section, this section here, turns around with the whole turret to allow it to have that movement, but it is hand cranked for the horizontal aiming. So the vertical aiming is actually pretty fast, the horizontal aiming not so much, but it is a big old gun with big old rounds. So let's just take it out for the test drive, as I say. Go realistic battle here, and I'll just show you that depression in a test drive environment. Because the turret's so high up as well, it really does help out for this tank. There we go, let's just go backwards. Now the reverse gear is abysmal on this tank. It really does not go well in reverse. So peeking out for shots is not something you're going to be able to do, and if you're in a pinch, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be truly buggered. So that is something to be aware of with this tank, is if you are working a ridgeline, you are going to be very exposed because you're not going to be able to duck down behind it very easily. The initial drive's not too bad though. You do have a pretty good initial drive section, so the actual start of the driving's pretty fast. It's just the rest of it that is god awfully slow. Okay, let's pop up over here. So relatively high angle here, and we're going to try and take out the Panzer IV. A little bit high there, but we can still do it, I think. It's about that range, a bit short. But you can see just the depression of this gun. It's very good. If we just lower the angle here a little tiny bit, we have pretty much full range of movement here. So it's an interesting tank in that respect, and it's just got such good depression in that respect, and it just gives you that really good frontal armour of the tank that you so desperately need. So yeah, overall it's an interesting tank. It's pretty good. We'll just go for a stationary target here. Where am I? Where are they? We'll fire downrange at the Panther actually. Easy enough to penetrate a panther. It would probably even might even penetrate a tiger at this range with this shell. It's a very good penetrative shell. So you are going to be able to go through most tanks frontally at 4.0. I don't think there's anything that's really going to pose much threat to you for taking a bounce, other than, you know, the odd bits of armour. Things like the KV, of course, and stuff. Yeah, we're struggling with the tiger there, but that's kind of to be expected. You know, things like the KV and stuff, we might struggle a little bit, but this round does have the punch. Okay guys, well I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of video, found it interesting and helped you out for your play experience for this tank when you get it. I would recommend using it when you do get it, but it's a bit of a sort of, well, it's an odd one really. You're sort of going to find it's not great, but it is good. It has the same gun as the AMX-13, so you got the same penetration value as that really, and that gun is very good. I think you've actually got a little bit less on the AMX because it uses a slightly different shell and it's a slightly shorter barrel as well. 46. Oh no, it's the 49 cannon. Sorry, but it's yeah, this tank is absolutely worth it. It's at its BR, it's very good. Up tiered, you're going to struggle, but at its BR and below, you're going to have fun. As I said, the armor for the side, if you angle it in this position, you might be okay. But don't rely on this side armor too much because, as I say, it is not double skinned. So things will just go straight through there. And of course, if they go into there, that's where your ammo's kept as well. So yeah, you know, it's not a great place to be hit for sure. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give me a like and let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I will catch you next time. This is Screezler out. Bye bye.